put your hand up if you are familiar with Professor Tim Spector and Zoe. Have you heard of it? Nobody else been targeted with the Instagram ads? All right, so I'm here to talk about metabolic health, and I'll start with some statistics. So we are in a metabolic health crisis. Right now in the UK today, we have 40 million families who are on the spectrum of preventable diabetes and obesity. Right now, that costs our beloved NHS 25 million pounds a day. And globally, this is a $2 trillion problem growing fairly quickly. But the problems are human. So realistically speaking, it is still obviously too hard to make sense of information and data that's available to make changes that are actually going to matter to our health and our family's health. Those changes are diet, exercise, and mental well-being. But the challenges are human. They are made much worse by things that we all face, like competing family dynamics, lack of motivation, socioeconomic inequalities, health washing, and bad science, of which there has been plenty. Our solution is an AI-powered health coach that encourages better health habits for each family. We take data from wearable biosensors, which I'm wearing myself. We have mapped the minds of the world's leading experts. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But the metabolic science experts who are leading the charge on this from a science perspective. And we simplify and personalize those insights and nudges and recommendations using conversational and generative AI. The result is a highly gamified, family-focused health app where engagement and collective progress are rewarded. Our business model right now is B2B2C SaaS, where we have traction with employee benefit platforms like Aviva and Eka Health, directly with employers like IBM, and across the kind of consumer health spectrum with brands like HelloFresh and GlycanAge. We also have a B2B data as a service model where we are building a revenue stream, a monetization stream of this hugely valuable asset of data with insurers like ULife and Vitality, and with healthcare in the private space with HCA. Our beta, which we launched in late summer, got over 1,000 organic signups. So we spent zero on marketing that. But what we did with that exercise was go through a very, very deep insights and pain points exercise with the first 100 paying users. So we have validated a lot of what we're doing with our early adopters. And we're in the market right now, so we're in the App Store with a product which today is cheaper, more family-focused, much richer in terms of continuous data than some of the other competitors that are currently in the space. The space is nascent. This is tiny. So globally, CGM, which is glucose monitoring, the CGM-assisted health space consists of most of these brands, and collectively they've raised $250 million, which is peanuts. Most of these are in the US as well. A lot of these brands are headed in the same direction, which is on very, very data-heavy. If there's any Garmin wearers out here, you'll know what I'm talking about. Our insights from our exercise are to focus on the family, not the individual user, to get partners involved, to provide both extrinsic rewards and also to offset the cost to users, and to focus on those human problems, not data. Our team has a great mix of commercial and technical, like most of the teams here today, but also really, really deep lived experience. My two co-founders, Kara and Jay, both live with type 1 diabetes every day, have done so for over a decade. I myself am the partner of a type 1 diabetic, the son of an 84-year-old type 1 diabetic, and I lost one of my closest friends in his 30s to complications from diabetes. So we've lived it. Well, I don't have diabetes, but our team has lived it, and that sort of insight and empathy is incredibly important when building a piece of consumer health tech. We also have great scientists. So Dr. Giles Yeo is the chair of our scientific advisory board, and we have a multidisciplinary team that goes across metabolic health, which includes nutrition, but also behavioral psychology and exercise physiology. Science is important, not just for science, but it's also because as the personalization of healthcare data continues, this is going mainstream. So metabolic health is entering the consumer lexicon. It already has. Our guy Giles was on Stephen Bartlett earlier this year. Who's heard of Stephen Bartlett? Okay, so a few more. That is the most watched health episode ever on his podcast, 5 million views, and he is the world's leading expert on body fat, which is of interest to many, many people. So this is also about impact. I hate to sound like a certain electric car company, but there is a master plan. In order to get metabolic health to the communities that really need it, it's not about the 1%ers, although that's a great place to start. This is about continuous improvement, iteration, learning, driving down hardware costs, which is happening, to get this into the communities and families that actually need this the most. If you want to know what metabolic health issues look like, get on a bus outside Zone 1. That's what it looks like. We think we have a very credible plan to get to 100 million in revenue. It's achievable. This involves working with about 150 B2B partners, so 150 businesses. And we are raising an extension to our pre-seed right now. That extension is 250K at a 2.5 million pre-money. That should get us to break even, which we think is about 50K of recurring monthly revenue and about 500 users in the next 12 months in the UK. We're also going to use that to expand our team, obviously, and to get into the clinical and research pathway that we have laid out for ourselves. We're going into clinical trials in Leicester at the end of Q1 with the manufacturer of the world's first risk-based glucose wearable. So that's quite exciting for us. We're EIS eligible, unfortunately not SEIS. But really, this is a game of interpretation. So the interpretation of consumer glucose data is a giant tidal wave that is coming, and who interprets that for impact is up for grabs. We think we're break even off of this extension in the next year. We've significantly de-risked development. Got a product in the App Store now, and we're doing a lot of work with the Forge on our next iterations. We're very well positioned with a B2B strategy and also on our hardware, both the current version and the next generation of hardware. And we got here on 350K, which we think shows a great amount of creativity and resilience. So come talk to me downstairs about getting behind our mission.